Hello and welcome to Between Sets with Church. Thank you very much for joining us. Today's guests are a local band that have been making huge splashes on the rock and roll scene in Barrie. Welcome today's guests, Face the Lion. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Hi there.
We finally made it. We did it.
Yeah.
So before we get, I do certainly want to talk about your latest gig down in Toronto. We'll get into that a little bit later, but first I want to talk a little about how you guys all came to fruition. How did you guys all meet, and how did all this project get going?
Well, Darren, the bass player here, is my brother-in-law, and when my sister introduced him to the family, he was a bass player, which was huge because I was always writing music, and we just started jamming, and this was years ago. And I just always have loved writing music, and I just one day said I would love to do something with this, and I didn't have the guts to do it for many years, and I just loved it so much that I thought that would be the one regret I would have for the rest of my life if I never had that feeling of playing live and recording music in the studio. So that's how we kind of started jamming and putting tunes together. And then our first drummer, Kenny McLeod, he introduced us to Arthur, and Kenny could no longer be our drummer, so we got Nick Harper to join from the Alpacas. So that's kind of how it came together, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun experiences, even though we launched our first two albums during COVID lockdowns. It was kind of, for me personally, it was amazing to have that experience during such a crummy time, going in and out of studios and listening to all the mixes and stuff while we're on lockdown. Really, for me, was a huge, huge help.
Yeah, well, that's great because a lot of bands really did almost shut it down for the last couple of years during the COVID, but you guys just seem to keep steam rolling ahead. How does it work as far as your influences? Because I guess you guys all come from different backgrounds, or are you all kind of have that rock and roll kind of energy or influences with you?
I'll go first. My huge influence is definitely the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney are huge influences. And then 90s grunge. Chris Cornell is one of my favorite artists to listen to. Scott Weiland from STP. Then you have the Nirvanas and all that kind of stuff. But John Lennon and Chris Cornell, Paul McCartney are my three go-tos anytime I need to have inspiration.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think the 90s era is definitely inspires and kind of informs a lot of the music that we've put together for sure. So yeah, definitely that was a big time for me as a music fan. Just getting really excited and into music at that time. So many great bands. So yeah.
Yeah, to kind of copy and paste here, but I mean, I grew up in the 90s, I started playing drums when I was 11, and, influences back then were Nirvana, Silverchair, anything grunge, I was all over it, so, and then coming into this band, kind of really getting to kind of relive that part of my life while writing music to that style of music. It's been pretty cool, so.
I'm a grunge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like a lot of metal too. So it's,
He's more harder than us, for sure.
Oh, is that right? Oh, okay. There's always one in the room. There's always one.
He's definitely the harder one, for sure.
It sounds like the 90s were definitely like a huge influence on you guys. Yeah, yeah.
60s too, though.
Of course, yes. Can't forget the Beatles aspect of it too. when it comes to writing, do you guys particularly handle that, or is it more or less like a band democratic system where everyone contributes?
So generally, I have, in the past, come to the guys with ideas already. But my thing is, if we're Face the Lion, I want everybody to add their feel to it. So I might have a melody, a rhythm, maybe some lyrics. I'll kind of do some stuff at home on my laptop, send it to the guys, and then we kind of add everybody's flavor to it. I want everybody to feel creative freedom, as long as it sounds good, and we all gel together. But I feel like that's what makes our sound. If it was just me writing, then it wouldn't give that feel and that crunch to. I've written all my stuff on like a 6-string or a 12-string at home, so I'm like very acousticy kind of feel, and then we come here and dirty it up for sure.
Well, it certainly allows for diversity as well. If you're all contributing different little, even though we are listening to a lot of 90s influence, you're still bringing each your own little taste and to add to it.
Yeah, because I'll have an idea, but then, Darren will write a really awesome bass line to something that I wouldn't think of. And then same with Nick, he'll do something with drums or a pause or this or that. And same with Artie, or different chord progressions, or things that I wouldn't have stepped outside my box.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, is I'm learning from these guys. They're pushing me to learn and change the way I could maybe write music, and that's all it is. It's learning from these guys and trying to make the best music we can.
Does it generally go pretty smooth, or is there sometimes where you go, well, I don't know about that idea, that was a little not quite there, or does it generally work pretty well with
Some
with
songs
the
definitely kind of write themselves.
Yeah.
He brings an idea, and then it's just like, whoop, and like we leave that night, we're like, it's kind of done. We're working on one now that's probably been months of like, we kind of think we have it where it should be, and then like, I'll have an idea through the week, come back, guys, could we try this? And then that ends up just like revamping the whole thing, and then end of the night we might be like, that actually wasn't very good, let's go back to where it was. So finally I think where we like it.
We played it at the Horseshoe as our encore.
Okay.
And I watched the video of it, and I was really happy the way it sounded. It sounded really good. I thought we pulled it off, even though we were practicing and trying to finish the song up until probably a couple weeks ago. But it's different, and I like different. I don't like traditional poppy kind of stuff. I wanted the crowd to feel the emotion of the song.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned the Horseshoe, a recent gig, not that long ago. Was it last week?
Yeah,
was it?
last Tuesday.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that, because I know you guys we were talking about that prior, and you guys were still pretty stoked on that. That's a pretty cool show. And also, how did you get that show actually as well? But talk a little bit about the show, because I know it was kind of a big thing for you guys.
Yeah, I think we've been fortunate enough to play gigs in Barrie already, and there's been some great bar owners that have given us the chance to play live, and we've loved every second of it. But one of the things we were all itching for was to go in the city, Toronto, and play down there. And Nick had played there before with his other band, and we just kept contacting them through lockdowns and opening of lockdowns, and they were backed up and they were delayed. Toronto was delayed longer than Barrie. And finally, one day, he's like, I can get you a spot on a Tuesday night. And we all were like, yes, we're doing it. We just need the experience. And every show we play, we've learned and trying to get better as a band and give the experience of the people coming to us better and better every time we play. So the Horseshoe was definitely something we were all really pumped to play. And I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, you gotta play the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
You gotta do
Yeah.
it at least once.
It's one of those iconic buildings that, I mean, there's a few more, of course, the Bull Line and several other ones, but the Horseshoe, I agree, it's got to be the Cadillac of places.
And then you can play in Barrie, and it's like, yeah, people come to your shows, your friends, stuff, but like, start playing out of town, and if you're getting great reactions out of strangers, you're doing something right.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did that last week. you know, a lot of people who asked our name after we got on stage, being like, that was really good, so that feels good. 'Cause your
Yeah.
friends are going to be like, that was awesome, and like, go home and be like,
I think it's always a great idea, Joe. I've always said for bands that in Barrie, just get off Dunlop, you know, go get out of town, go play somewhere else. It's such a great experience. But Horseshoe, that's a good one to hit up.
Yeah, I mean, our first live experience in the city was the Horseshoe Tavern. It was
Yeah.
a really amazing experience, and I was really happy the way we sounded, and I love the sound of the bar. You know, I love the way everybody's guitars and drums sounded, and the way everything was mic'd. It was really special.
Yeah, and you had it all mic'd up and everything. It was you were mentioning earlier some 4K video and everything. So that should be
exactly. So
cool.
that was something. Each concert we've done, I've gotten it videoed. I just really know years down the line, I'll definitely cherish those memories for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Do you also do a lot? Speaking of video, etc. Do you do a lot of your own work as far as the video? Actually, speaking of which, I saw a video you guys recorded just down here at just down at the corner here for the shot "Living Scared."
Actually, we did it in the parking lot.
Was it here?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out where it was. Somewhere downtown Barrie. Or
Yeah.
I got my my.
So that was for a contest for 102.1 The Edge, and they needed us or the bands to do a music video of us just singing the song. So we didn't really do a music video the way we want to do for that song. We just needed to perform it live.
Gotcha.
So we just did it live and did it, and then they threw it on YouTube, and then that's kind of how it got on there.
So with that, you guys doing a lot of your own marketing and PR work?
Yeah, right now I think eventually my goal would be for us to have somebody help us with that, and just to kind of keep pumping out stuff that, you know, I just would love to keep recording music and then putting it up. That's my goal, and that's what the guys want to do as well, and keep playing live, and hopefully we get to a point where I can get a company to help us out with that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's so important nowadays with where the industry is. Like, it's harder to just be like playing a ton of shows nowadays. Whereas like you could have a really great music video with a great tune, and that could get you a bit of traction somewhere. You know, at least get you some shows, get you out of town, and like we just need more content, and that's the direction we're heading. And looking forward to like putting together a real like great music video for the song we're going to record in the fall. So it should be a lot of fun.
What's been the biggest struggle, do you think, so far?
I mean, the whole lockdown thing was hard to kind of get going. I think the struggle is finding places to play that don't want cover bands. That's been a very hard thing, and getting people, I would say, replies from places that are just wanting cover bands. I think that's been, for me, a surprise how tough it is to get a live band somewhere that doesn't, that just want to play their own music.
Yeah. It seems to go in phases too. I noticed over the last several years, it goes where people want cover bands and then they want live bands, and it seems like Barrie's kind of in between. I mean, if you do the jam thing, you can get into your Sundays or certain places, but it can be tough, especially now. I mean, thank goodness we have the Queens to support that. But
and the terrible part too was there's a lot of really cool places to play and that got shut down during COVID. That, some rock bars and stuff that did support non-cover bands that are no longer here. So that was the other thing, is like that just totally killed a lot of the vibe downtown for sure.
Yeah. We had talked earlier about recording, and you had mentioned that you do have some recording plans coming up. But you also mentioned some really cool little aspects that you want to, intriguing things that you want to add to your recording. Tell me a little bit more about what's coming up down the line with that.
Yeah, so the next single is a pretty kind of heavy song lyrically. It means a lot to me personally. And we all kind of agreed that we would love to hear a cello, a violin, and a choir doing some backing vocals as well. So the gentleman that has recorded our first two albums I've talked to, and we're already starting to get everything prepared for that. We would love to go in the end of October and start that out. And that's going to be a really cool process, I think, for all of us working with that. I feel like watching the old Beatles videos and seeing them with George Martin and doing, all the, violin and cello work and all that as well. I think that was something just to add to a rock band. Sounds amazing.
Well, it's certainly something I haven't heard of around here, anyone trying to do. That's for sure. How did you come up with that idea to go all out with it and go symphony and choir and everything?
It was really the song. The song really had that emotional.
You saw that it needed that.
Well, I think it would just even elevate it even more. So it's a very powerful song, like Anthony said, lyrically, and I think musically it is as well. But I think it would just even elevate it, make it even add that much more emotion to the music. That'd be pretty incredible, I think.
That's the song, kind of the ghost in the room. When we first started playing this new tune we're going to record, we were recording it on a phone, and when we went back to listen to it, through like the chorus parts, it sounded like another layer of harmonies that weren't being sung by anybody in the room.
Just picking up on my amp, this harmony was very clearly coming through over top of my vocals at like a perfect pitch. And it was like kind of emotional because going with what the song is about, to hear vocals that are not mine on top of it, and whatever was picking up through my amp was amazing, and it was like this beautiful sound. And that's where we all kind of stopped, listened to it again, and we're like, you heard that, you guys are hearing that. We have to do something with that in the song.
Wow, a natural layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So is it going to be a single, or are you going to be doing a full album?
I would love to do a full album. I think for now we would do kind of release a single, and then we have enough new tunes ready to go for another EP. But we'll go kind of one song at a time for now.
Yeah. The song that I mentioned earlier, "Living Scared." Tell me a little about the lyrics about that.
Okay, so it's a song about either something personal to me, but as well as people who have gone through life with health conditions, debilitating life conditions where you think your life is set in one way, and then you're totally derailed. And then when you overcome it, and then it comes back, and you're derailed again. So it's this wave of emotion of, here we go again. My life had just began the way I imagined it. And then basically coming back and saying, okay, here we go again. I gotta fight this, and I gotta battle this. I'm going to beat this. So when you're so low and dark and down, you start living scared, and everything is scared. You don't want to do things. You don't want to live your life that you could have lived because you're living scared.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a sheer pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Hopefully you guys had a good time as well. And we'll hopefully catch up with you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, gentlemen.